What is going on, boys? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be sort of like a podcast episode, maybe one you can just turn your phone off and listen to me go over this because, of course, we probably have fallen into similar situations before, and maybe this is the second time that it's happened or third time, but I am on one of the worst trading streaks of my entire adult trading career. Now, this is something that can really put you in a bad position mentally, financially, all of these things. And there's so many factors that could run down into this. And this is the big takeaway I need you to understand is it's not my fault. Subjectively, it is, of course. I'm the one taking these trades. I'm the ones placing them. No one's forcing me to get up every single day and continue to take trades. And I have made mistakes. But from a majority perspective, I have the sample size trading a certain way for so long to confidently say sometimes the market is just not correlating with how I need it to correlate to make money. Meaning, there's going to be times when there's bad price action, and bad price action, news releases, all of these outside factors, things that I cannot control, are going to have an impact on my trading, and they're going to have an impact on my results. And that's all that has been happening recently. There's been situations where you guys know I switched to gold majority. I'm leaning back towards NQ. I'm coming back. I'm crawling back to her. And there's been times when news would come out, news would get released, and it would actually negate the dollar on top of negate gold. And you guys know those are supposed to inverse each other. And it can really throw you for a loop bias-wise and confirmation-wise because you never know at any point one of these is going to flip, one of these is going to turn up. And it has continuously happened to me. I am literally so due for a consistent green couple of days at this point. It gets to the point where you think of that 50-50 kind of coin flip. Sometimes it's going to land on tails 10 times in a row. But when you look bigger picture, it will start to come out to a close to 50-50 result. And that's not saying your strategy is going to be 50-50 or anything, or you're deserved to get a win. But just the example of you might think with a profitable strategy, as a profitable trader, you guys have always thought that, profitable trader. It doesn't just go like this. It's never been like that. I lose just as often as you do, but for me, it's just about cutting it off. It's about stepping away. And that's exactly what I did last week. And I'm getting close to doing it again this week. It has just not been moving how I like to. Someone like me in my position, you really start to limit the quantity of your trades, increase the quality, and you are just trying to take advantage of market opportunities when you get them. That's why I switched to this newer model that I created, where it's very rare that I do get setups. Maybe it's 1 or 2 or 3 a week, because there's so many factors and I haven't dropped a video about it just yet, but I plan on doing it pretty soon. But the main thing is just I have been in spots where I'm chasing, and you guys know I have a Discord. I alert all of my trades, and sometimes I feel like I need to put something out. So, I'll go from those S plus, maybe A setups to, I'll slide down to a little bit B. I'll get, I guess comfortable with those higher risk setups, and I will be clear that this is a little bit more risky, but it's just going to put me in worse positions. There's no reason for me to do that. A lost trade makes so much of a negative impact compared to just sitting out, because now instead of being here, when I could have just called break even for the day, waited for another opportunity to come through, I'm now down to here, meaning I need to win a trade or get back just to here, then go back again. And it's one of those things where you have to not be greedy, because you will be stuck in this continuous loop of just chasing and chasing and chasing. You're just going to dig yourself in this deep hole. Very similar to what a lot of day traders do when they first get into funded account trading. They're just, surely I'm going to pass one, or I just need to pass one, and I'll just keep ripping them over and over and over again. And you're never guaranteed anything. And that's really why I wanted to make this video and talk to you about this, is because, some people in my position might feel like they're entitled to get a win. I'm so good at this. I've been doing this for so long. I know I'm going to get a win. And of course, I'm going to. But I am just as entitled with the stock market as you. At the end of the day, it's when we're all dead, when we all go to heaven, when we get to the pearly gates, God's not going to accept me because I have a nicer car than you, or I'm taller than you, or all these things. When it's all said and done, on paper, there's no difference between me and someone who just picked up the charts from a, I guess, due perspective. You are never guaranteed anything. Every single time you're taking trades, it is a known optimistic approach, and you are putting odds in your favor, hopefully with your strategy, that you believe this is more likely than not to play out. And I was talking in the Discord this morning about it. I really, really, really want to adopt this approach more, kind of in the way where I'm saying you're not really getting into trades based off of setups more than anything, which yeah, don't lose me. That's true. But you're getting into it from an odds perspective. Is it more likely to do this or this based off of, your setup or whatever you like to trade off of, whatever that might be, statistically, you have the advantage. And yes, just because you have the advantage does not mean you are due or you're going to, hit every single time. But when you look at that big picture, like I was talking about, statistically, you will turn a profit. And that's all that trading comes down to. So I would say more than anything right now, it's a very tough mental position. And speaking it from a mental side, I know how draining it is for some people, and I feel so bad because I've alerted so many losses in my Discord, and I know there's people not as far as me into this game where they're comfortable losing like this. And whatever, they're losing accounts, they're getting upset, they're being mad. I would be just as mad, and I am as mad. I'm even more mad because not only am I losing my own money, but I'm losing other people's money, and that hurts me, that pisses me off, that makes me upset. So just really trying to say to you guys, whether you're in the Discord or you're not, and you go through these tough dry streaks where you're just getting rinsed, it is such a part of the game. It is such a developmental process. When you look at any index like the S&P 500, like the NASDAQ, like gold, whatever, there's obviously a clear uptrend when you do zoom out big picture. But when you look closer, there's a lot of downs. There's lots of retracements. There's lots of times when price is going to fall. You think it's all over, then boom, we go all the way back up. And we're right where we were originally. So there's so many times when people just are so zoomed in, you're just worrying about right now, worrying about today. When you could look at the person you've become since you first maybe discovered my YouTube channel or you first, got into trading. You've developed so much. So just because you're not seeing a financial process just yet does not mean it's not coming, or does not mean that you are not making progress. If you base this off of financials, you'll never get to that success point, because you could literally play the game of comparisons all day, and I could maybe make triple what you do in a week, and I could make that in a day. And then boom, you would now put yourself on a lower pedestal than me. That has nothing to do with it, man. Just understand that this is a process where you are going to get hit. You are going to get knocked down. You just have to keep going. That's all it comes down to. Especially, I made the thing in the Discord. Like most of you guys are losing funded money. This shit is nothing to me. Okay. And it's not a flex. But like I said, I've lost $20,000 in a day of my own real money from a live account. This shit does not move me, and it shouldn't move you either. If you look high perspective, high time frame, like, bro, like you're losing fake money, and you're like walking around like, fuck, bro, I just blew $2,000. Like, oh my god, it's just a funded account. You move on, you go forward, you repeat the process. These accounts are not meant to be stuck around and maintained forever. They're meant to be passed, paid out, lost, passed, paid out, lost. Repeat the process over and over again. That is how they were created. That is what they're used for. So hopefully you guys gained something from this. Just once again, really just trying to give you guys an open, insighted, idea into my mind. Understand that we are on the very same level. I'll never hold myself to a higher standard than you, or a higher accountability level. You are in my position as well. Just because you're not as far along does not mean that you cannot get to my point. You cannot be better than me. And I want to inspire you guys. I want to make you guys better. And of course, I want to come out and say, like, I'm being transparent with you guys. I'm showing you guys my losses. It's tough. It sucks. But you know what? Again, sky's still blue, still bald. Things don't change. I'm just going to keep going forward, keep taking good trades. And I believe I have to have confidence in my strategy going forward, because it's got me to this point, and it's going to continue to climb and build my life up. So that's about it, guys. Hopefully you're doing good. Hopefully everything is well. I don't really, not really need to plug, but, Alpha Futures just dropped, 25% off all their funded accounts. I'm doing a giveaway. So if you want to win a giveaway, just use code Steph on Alpha Futures, 25% off all accounts, because they paid out like $5 million. And anybody that used that, the more entries, the better that you use it. Going to be dropping you guys 0 accounts in your account. You should see them if you do win the giveaway. Should be within a couple of days of this video being released. And that's about it, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Hopefully your trading day went a little bit better than mine. But I'll see you guys later. Peace.